Hi there everybody, Cindy Hartzell, and this is an introduction to Groundwork Part 1. And I want to talk about why do we do groundwork. Groundwork is the foundation of your relationship with your horse. Everything that you do in the saddle actually starts on the ground. If you think about when your horse was trained, a lot of you get your horses that are already trained, and for some of us, I gentle mild Mustangs, and I train horses from babyhood up. And everything that we do on the ground is building on respect and rapport, communication, connection, trust, leadership, boundaries. And when we are doing our groundwork, we're working on getting our horse to join up with us as our partner and learning to ask us questions and solve problems that they may face on the ground. So the video that you're about to see is Dakota and I working on our groundwork, and she and I have been partners. I think we started in September, so we're still working on a lot of these things. She's a 14-year-old Mustang. She's only been under saddle for about 3 years, and she probably has less than 250 hours under the saddle. So in the video you're about to watch, you're going to see her and I working on our relationship and all of those things that I just mentioned. So I hope you enjoy the video. Hey there everybody, Cindy Hartzell with Hartzell Confidence-Based Horsemanship, and Dakota and I are going to do a short video on the basics of groundwork, how to get your horse and you started on the basics of groundwork. Dakota's never been here before, so she's got quite a bit of tension out on this beautiful range. She's a Mustang, so she's kind of from Nevada, so she's kind of looking at these Mustangs, these mountains, thinking they look like home. So the first thing that I want to say about groundwork is I'm using a rope halter because the knots are strategically placed to have pressure on her on different nerves. Now, some will call that abusive. It's only abusive if it's abused by the hands that are using it. The other thing that I like about the knots is we are teaching our horses to give to pressure. And so the nylon halters do not have knots, so they don't give pressure in those specific points to help teach your horse to give to pressure. Pressure motivates, release teaches. So when I ask Dakota to back up, I start very mildly. She's totally ignoring me, so then I up the pressure, and as soon as she backs up, then I lower the pressure to as low as she will go. Now, Dakota is still learning about groundwork. She's been doing it for a while, but she still struggles. So the way that I start my horse out on the circle, she's gonna roll. The way that I start my horse out on the circle is I take the center of the ring. So if I'm in an arena, I make an imaginary circle. If I'm just letting her roll, you guys. If I'm in a round pen, I take the center of the round pen. So it doesn't look like she's gonna roll. So I'm gonna rock back to the center. I'm not going to back away from her to take the center, because in the language of horse, when you back away from your horse and your horse in your mind is following you, I'm yelling because I'm acting like I forget I have my mic on. Sorry, guys. When you back away from your horse and your horse comes to you, in their mind, they're driving you away. In your mind, you think they're following you. So you need to have a little understanding of how horses think and communicate with each other. So I'm just going to back her up because I want some attention. So when I back her up to put her on the circle, I'm holding the rope connected to her face in my right hand, which means I'm set up to go clockwise or to my right. I'm going to make sure that her left foot, the foot that is going to closest to the direction of the circle we're going to go, is forward, so that when I put her on the circle, she can step out with that front foot versus stepping over with the other foot. She came in, I'm just going to ask her to go back. She's checking in with me, which I love. Her pasture mate is up there working things out with Katniss and Ellie. That's fine. So I'm going to ask her to take one more step. Now, when I put my horse out on the circle, I imagine that she is like a piece of pie or a piece of pizza. Her hind feet defined my circle. To correctly put your horse on the circle, they should not come in. The front feet should not move forward. The only place the front feet should move is sideways to match the circle of the hind feet. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to point her nose where I want it to go. She didn't do it correctly. I'm going to ask one more time. I want those front feet to pivot around, not come towards me. So I'm going to ask the nose to go there. That was better. Did you see how they crossed over? And then we travel together. She's looking at Dee like, what are you doing? Come on, babe. So I'm going to point the rope that has, the hand that has the rope connected to her nose is my directing hand. It tells her where we're going, what direction we're going. She's checking out the dirt. We're just warming up. I'm not going to be super particular. So we travel together. The other thing is we travel shoulder to shoulder. This is a partnership. This is not a dictatorship. I'm traveling with her. I make sure, if you watch the way I walk in my circle, I am walking, I have drawn a circle in my mind for me, and I'm walking it. I'm not walking into her, and I'm not pulling her into me. I'm managing my circle so she can manage her circle. Now, when I want to pick up her pace, I imagine in my mind's eye traveling faster. She's getting closer, so I'm going to wait till you guys can see. When they get closer, you look where your foot would be in the stirrups, and that didn't mean go faster. It meant move sideways. You talk to the barrel, here it is again, move sideways. Get farther away from me. We're traveling side by side. The other thing, you guys, look at something stationary ever so often, like look at the mountains. Look at D. The reason for this is you get dizzy if you keep staring at your horse. So now she's trotting. I'm going to take a nice deep breath and think walk. Horses are energy beings. They feel our energy. Now she picked up the trot because she's nervous. I've learned about this mare. When she gets nervous, she gets fast. So now I'm going to imagine in my mind's eye, we're going to pick up the pace to a trot. I bring it down into my solar plexus, my energy point. I push it out through the palm of my hand. I look where we're going, and once she starts trotting, I put my hand back down. This is neutral. Neutral is important. I didn't ask her to stop, so I'm going to bring it back up. Neutral is important. It tells them, one, it's the release of pressure. Two, it tells them do nothing different. Now I'm going to bring her up to a canter. I'm going to see it in my mind's eye. I'm going to feel it in my body. I'm going to rev it up. Now if she breaks trot one more time, she's going to get tagged on the butt, because I'll ask her 3 times to maintain gait, which is her responsibility. If she doesn't, a consequence is going to show up. So there's the consequence. Did you notice I had no predator look on her? I'm using my focus out of my periphery. I saw that she broke gait and she got a consequence. She got bit on the butt just like a stallion would do. So my rope hand is the lead mare. She sets the direction, she sets the pace. My stick hand is the stallion who makes sure everybody follows the mare. So now I'm going to ask her to a canter. I'm going to rev up my engine, imagine what it feels like in my body, pick up my pace. She went faster. It's hard in this round pen because the sand is deeper in some than other. She missed it, so now I ask with my stick, did you see my tail? The stallion says you should be cantering. She says, but it's on a short rope and it's hard. I'm going to say, give me a little bit. Now to a trot. Oh, good girl. Now that's not really what I asked, but this mare and I are still working on our relationship. And when you're teaching a horse something new, or you're with a new horse and you're building the trust and the relationship and the bond, remember the circle, 50% training, 50% bonding. This mare, even though she didn't read what I was saying correctly, because perhaps I wasn't clear, she turned and she stopped and she faced me. Anytime, when you're building on a relationship like this, or you're just starting to work on new things, and the horse turns in and asks you a question, you take it. Now, where you don't accept that is when they start getting really familiar with what you're doing, and they'll use it like an excuse, like, oh, I turned into you, can we stop what we're doing? So that's where your feel comes in, you guys. Did it feel like she was like, okay, what's next? Or I'm confused, or I'm worried, or did it feel like I'm just going to do this so we can stop? You have to know what they're saying. She's got lots of leaking and blinking. She's lowering her head down. She's got a soft eye. These are all the things that tells me she's connecting with me. And remember, one of the reasons we do groundwork is to build not only on the communication, but build on the connection.